hard to know where Republicans are at right now, what they're thinking about on COVID or on anything. The loudest voices and the highest profile people on the political right, for example, spent this weekend angrily trying to one-up each other about how offended they are by President Biden's ban on meat. Republicans and conservative media figures denounced the meat ban angrily. They mocked the meat ban. They threatened dire consequences over anyone trying to enforce the meat ban. It was very weird because, of course, there's no meat ban. President Biden hasn't proposed anything about anyone eating anything, let alone a ban on hamburgers or whatever it is that they are fantasizing about on the right. It's not even like he's entertaining that or like progressives are pushing him for that and Joe Biden is, being very scary by listening. I mean, there's no meat ban. Nobody's banning meat. And yet it's completely made up. Whole cloth, doesn't come from anywhere. And yet that was the animating scandal of the past 3 days in Republican circles. They're very, 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 very mad. And they've got their messaging cranked up to 3,000 on something that is not happening at all. So what do you guys care about? Do you have anything to say about stuff that is happening? No, you want to talk about Dr. Seuss and the meat ban? Okay, that's cool. There has been a lot of consternation over the last couple of days over an interview that the House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy did with the New York Times. In the interview, he did try to rewrite history of what former President Trump did on January 6th during the mob attack on the Capitol. He tried to make it seem like President Trump didn't really know it was happening. Leader McCarthy even took back some things that he himself had previously said about his own actions that day and what the president did as well in their conversations. But for all the consternation over him trying to put a shine on January 6th and him lying about his own experience on January 6th, for all the, I think, continued and deserved interest in how Republicans in office, even now, they still can't figure out what to do about their twice impeached one-term president facing multiple criminal investigations after he left Washington almost literally a smoldering hulk. I mean, for all the consternation and the interest over that, and I get it. When it comes to this latest interview that Kevin McCarthy did with the New York Times, there is another thing there that we should be talking about. Can we talk about what else we learned about the House Republican leader, Kevin McCarthy, and what he himself did on January 6th? I don't understand how this isn't the headline. But this anecdote, totally new to me, as far as I can tell, completely previously unreported. This new anecdote comes literally 34 paragraphs into a story that is 39 paragraphs long. I'll read it to you verbatim. You ready? Quote, after the House chamber was evacuated on January 6th, Mr. McCarthy retreated to his Capitol office with a colleague, Representative Bruce Westerman, a Republican congressman from Arkansas. When it became evident the rioters were breaking in, Mr. McCarthy's security detail insisted he leave. But Congressman Westerman was left behind in Kevin McCarthy's inner work area at his Capitol office. For protection, Congressman Westerman said he commandeered a Civil War sword from an office display. He barricaded himself in Mr. McCarthy's private bathroom and waited out the siege while crouched on Congressman McCarthy's toilet. And the next line of the piece, friends described the post-election period as traumatic for Mr. McCarthy. Wait, traumatic for Mr. McCarthy? For Kevin? I mean, he's the one who got rushed out of there because the rioters were breaking in. He brought another Republican member of Congress to his private office with him. And then once they were there, I was like, oh, no, Bruce, we came here to my office to hide, but the rioters, they're inside now. They're coming for us. Bye, Bruce. I'll see you later. I'm out of here. I mean, there's a toilet in there. Maybe good luck crouching on top of the toilet. They won't see your feet if they look under the door. I don't know. The guy ended up opening up a display of Civil War artifacts and grabbing an antique display sword, and then he had to hide on Kevin McCarthy's toilet because leader Kevin McCarthy left that congressman there to fend for himself while the rioters closed in. He left with the security detail, but he didn't bring the other congressman with him. It wasn't like that congressman had a gigantic entourage and they were like, oh, let's, pull straws and we'll see who can fit. It was like one guy. They left the guy while rioters marauded through the office. Imagine the discussion in, like, the armored SUV while they're driving Kevin McCarthy away, or, in the tunnel where they're rushing him down the tunnel or whatever, where they're taking him somewhere safe. Do you think at one moment they were like, ooh, I hope Bruce is okay? Yeah, we did just leave him. We left him because the rioters were inside and closing in, and they did ultimately maraud through the office. They left him there. That's the leader of the House Republicans, their leader, taking care of his members. It's like that old joke about how fast you need to be to not get eaten by a bear. Turns out you don't have to run that fast. You just need to run faster than your friend. Sorry, Bruce. Good luck with the mob. Did you lock the toilet door? So that's what's going on in Republican leadership. But they're all standing strong and standing together against Joe Biden banning meat, which is something that Joe Biden is not doing. They just made that up. But they've got their priorities. And in terms of what they are really working on, like spending money on and doing in a very concerted way right now, is that they are still trying to undo the results of the 2020 election from 6 months ago.